Si PBBM ang magiging chairman ng ASEAN sa 2026. At pamumunuan niya lang naman ang mga bansang to dito sa Southeast Asia. No? At ang napili nilang magiging leader o chairman sa ASEAN sa 2026 si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Kaya wag na kayong magtaka kung kaliwat kanan yung paninira sa kanya. Kasi dahil sa inggit, dahil sa gusto siyang pabagsakin ng mga oposisyon.
Well, the business community describes the corruption under this administration as historic, massive, and unprecedented.
Yes.
Are we seeing a scale of corruption that was, you think, worse than during the era of Marcos Sr.?
Yeah, definitely.
Marcos loyalist gumawa ng video at nag-viral, mga kadonatics. Piruin mo, sinabi niya pa doon sa video na hindi nagre-research itong mga DDS. Walang alam. It's so ironic, mga kadonatics. Bakit? Lahat ng pinagsasabi niya doon, mali. May pasabi-sabi pa siya na tingnan nyo si BBM. Ha? Kahit gaano tinulugsa, pero pinapataas ng Panginoon. What? Eto, mga kadonatics, panoorin na lang natin.
Alam nyo guys, nakaka-proud maging Pilipino. Nakaka-proud maging Pilipino, no? Ito yung pilit na pinapabagsak pero lalong namamayagpag. No? Pilit nilang pinapabagsak pero itinataas ng Diyos. Hindi nyo ba nakukuha? Si PBBM ang magiging chairman ng ASEAN sa 2026. At pamumunuan niya lang naman ang mga bansang to dito sa Southeast Asia. No? Wait lang. Ang Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia. Alam niyo mayaman ng Malaysia, napakayaman na ito Myanmar, Singapore. See? Pamumunuan niya itong mga bansang to sa Southeast Asia. Dito sa ASEAN, no? Or Association of Southeast Asian Nation. Thailand at Vietnam. Kabilang din dito, no, ang ASEAN candidate or observer states. Ito yung mga observer states. Papua New Guinea at Timor-Leste. Ito
May Genie. Hindi nga marunong mag-broadcast, mga kadonatics. Genie, what the heck?
naman yung 3+ nation. China, Japan, South Korea. Okay? East Asia Summit. Ito, Australia, India, New Zealand, Russia, United States. Dito rin sa Asia Regional Forum, Bangladesh, Canada, Mongolia, North Korea, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, European Union. At ang napili nilang magiging leader o chairman sa ASEAN sa 2026 si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Kaya wag na kayong magtaka kung kaliwat kanan yung paninira sa kanya. Kasi dahil sa inggit, dahil sa gusto siyang pabagsakin ng mga oposisyon, no? Grabe ang ginagawa nilang paninira sa kanya porket tahimik lang. Tahimik lang ito, hindi pumapatol. Kasi ganyan ang edukado, matalino, no? May respeto. Pero siya, hindi niya pinatulan. Isang napakagandang ehemplo ng presidente dito sa Pilipinas, no? Na sa kabila ng paninira nila sa kanya, sa kabila ng pagpapabagsak sa kanyang pangalan at lideratura, nananatili siyang matatag at pinupuri siya ng mga bansang ito at magiging leader o chairman pa, no? Ng ASEAN. Ito ba yung pilit yung pinapabagsak? Ang ibang bansa bilib na bilib sa kanyang lideratura, tapos tayong Pilipino, kayong mga DD shits kayo, no? Napakakapal ng mukha nyo, nagpapauto kayo. Ayan, no? Isang dakilang karangalan para sa sambayan ng Pilipino bilang head of state ng ating bansa. Ang presidente natin magiging head o chairman ng ASEAN sa 2026. Kaya mag-isip kayo sa mga naninira sa kanya. Imbis
Kabugo talaga, mga kadonatics. Tinawag pa tayong DD.
na lalong umunlad ang ekonomiya, pinapalabas nyo na may chaos dito sa Pilipinas for what? Para umatras yung mga investors, para pabagsakin ng ekonomiya. Kayo ang nagpapabagsak sa ekonomiya at hindi si Bongbong Marcos. Alam nyo, napakasipag ng presidente na to eh. Bilib na bilib ako dito. Ako pro Dutere ako dati, pero dahil sa mga nakita ko, nag-research ako.
Nag-research.
Yan ang kulang sa mga DDS, nagpapaniwala sa mga fake news. No? Ito, basahin natin. Isang patunay ng matatag na liderato, no? At pagkilala sa buong riyon sa kakayahan ng Pilipinas na mamuno. Di ba?
Eto, mga kadonatics. Nakakaawa talaga tong Marcos loyalist. Ay grabe talaga mga kadonatics. Proud na proud pa siyang sinabi na inaangat daw ng Panginoon si BBM. At ang mga DD shit daw, hindi marunong magre-research. Ako nakakatuwa at nakakaawa. Bakit mga kadonatics? Bakit magiging chairman yung Pilipinas or si Bongbong Marcos this coming 2026 ASEAN Summit? Dahil yan, alphabetical rotation. Kakaawa talaga mga kadonatics. Last time sa Malaysia, M. Since ang Myanmar mga kadonatics hindi makapag-chairman, proceed sila sa Pilipinas. Kaya Philippines, P. P. Pagkatapos ng Philippines mga kadonatics, ano na? Ang susunod? Vietnam. Singapore mga kadonatics. Tapos Vietnam, balik na naman sa Brunei. Anong klase? Nakakatuwa at nakakaawa mga kadonatics na yung taong nagsasabi na hindi daw tayo marunong mag-research. Tingnan nyo mga pinagsasabi niya. At anong page yun? Page na itinalaga. What the heck? That's rotation. Lahat ng ASEAN members ay may pagkakataon magiging chairman. Pagkaloko-loko talaga. Di ba mga kadonatics? Ganyan ang mga loyalist. Bangag na kasi. High na high. Hindi na alam kung ano yung pinagsasabi. Ngayon, nakakatuwa talaga, no? Di ba? Nakakatuwa talaga mga kadonatics. Ngayon, ito yung prangka at ito yung napakaganda sa the time na nagiging chairman si Tatay Digong. Kasi si Tatay Digong din mga kadonatics, naging chairman kasi nga rotation. Sinong bumisita sa kanya? First time! Si Donald Trump. Sa panahon na si Tatay Digong ay nagiging chairman sa ASEAN mga kadonatics, bumisita si Donald Trump. Ganyan kalakas sa panahon ni Tatay Digong. Ganyan kalakas si Tatay Digong. Ngayon, tingnan nyo, pinapunta pa siya sa Amerika mga kadonatics. Itong si BBM, akala mo, loyalist, grabe na yung hiyawan nila. Proud na proud sila. Pagpunta doon mga kadonatics, 1% lang ang binawas sa ano yun, VAT or tariff mga kadonatics. Can you imagine that? Ganyan kayo mga loyalists, di kayo marunong mag-research. Kaya, ayan, tingnan nyo ang nangyayari ngayon. Tahimik, anong tahimik? Si BBM, tahimik? Kailan pa yan nagiging tahimik mga kadonatics? Behind the scene. Grabe ang pagmaninipula sa mga nangyayari ngayon. He is behind all of these things. Bakit may corruption? Siya ang pumirma. Bakit nakidnap si Tatay Digong? Dahil inallowed niya. Tahimik bungok. Ay nakakaawa. Eto, Paulo Duterte or Congressman Duterte ata. Congressman Paulo Pulong Duterte mga kadonatics, may statement siya. Bago lang. Isinerd to ni Alvin and Tourism 30 minutes ago. Pasahe natin. Ganyan yung sinasabi ng mga loyalists na tahimik lang, hindi marunong take revenge itong si BBM. What? Ito. Statement of Representative Paulo Z. Duterte on the plunder case filed against Chavit Singson and his call for the president's resignation October 2025. Okay, nakarang araw. This is getting ridiculous. Has freedom of speech already disappeared in this country? For sure mga kadonatics, wala ng freedom of speech. Now, anyone who dares to speak against the administration gets charged. See? So this is what they call the new normal in government? What the heck? If you really want justice, start with yourselves. When will you file cases against your own kind and your drug-addicted children. Whoa! Drug-addicted children? Nako! Nako! And now, let me guess, is this another piece of advice coming from your friends at the CIA? What? 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 Just to make sure you finish the year with your agenda intact. Nako, let's not pretend anymore. It's becoming obvious that the CIA is the one running this government. We are being sold out, mga kadonatics, unknowingly. The problem now is that those who tell the truth are the ones being targeted. This is no longer democracy. It's beginning to look like a syndicate controlling the people's rights. Tama, mga kadonatics. Natatandaan nyo, ang Quadcom hearing binuo yan against government, against the opposition, mga kadonatics. Lahat ng mga nagsasabing against kay BBM or against this administration ay pinapatawag or ipapakulong. Ang daming ang lumabas ng bansa, mga kadonatics, kasi isasabpina nila. May mga nakulong, mga vloggers, pinapahinto, tinawag na bayaran ng China. Ganyan si BBM nga ron. Ganyan siya, mga kadonatics. Di ba? This is a silent martial law. Definitely. Ngayon, ang Makati group of businessmen, mga kadonatics, sa, of course, Pilipinas, Makati nga, ay pumalag na sa mga nangyayari ngayon. May mensahe kay BBM. Di ba? Tingnan nyo, hindi yan na nangyari kay Tatay Digong. Pero ngayon, mga kadonatics, hindi na sila makatiis. Dahil sa korupsyon, sa panggigipit sa mga businessmen at everything. Ito, mga kadonatics, panoorin natin.
"34 major business groups across all sectors join hands to make a
34.
rare, urgent, and forceful appeal to President Bongbong Marcos to make decisive and transparent action against massive corruption. They emphasize their contributions to the government in the form of taxes and other fees. They declared they have lost trust in this government. Is this a turning point to expedite the investigation, swiftly prosecute all..."
Anong sinabi doon, mga kadonatics? They lost trust in this government. Marcos, kung may hiya ka pang natitira kahit konti, please step down. Resign. Please.
all officials found guilty, or will this just be another call to fall on deaf ears? We have with us the Executive Director of the Makati Business Club, Apa Ongpin. Good morning, Apa.
Hi, good morning.
Can you tell us about this call for government action? You have 34 business groups across all sectors. Can you tell us which groups comprise this action?
Well, I can't name all the 34, but
Yes.
you know, everybody, the major groups are there. Makati Business Club is one. You know, of course, Management Association of the Philippines and financial executives, FINEX.
FINEX,
you know,
yes.
and then the PCCI, Philippine Chambers of Commerce and Industry. You know, basically it's a who's who.
Yes, and it came out in the newspapers today.
Yes.
So what was the tipping point where these major business groups, like you said, the who's who, finally decided, let's come out and let's make this public?
It's not finally decided. Our members, for instance, were crying out for a statement. You know, they were just emotionally so appalled by the revelations of the investigations in the House and then now in the ICI. They kept telling us, hey, we got to do something. We have to say something, you know. And we've got to force the government to see this through, you know, these investigations. heads gotta roll.
Mọi thông tin bạn cần ngay trong tầm tay. Mỗi thông báo có thể là cơ hội giao dịch lớn tiếp.
Right?
When you say there's a lot of that emotional call for a statement or that you have to do something because they were so appalled by what was revealed in terms of the corruption, can you share with us what angered the business community the most?
The scale. We've always known. We're not born yesterday, no?
But isn't that sad, no? Like when we have this conversation, like everyone I talk to also say that. We've always known about the corruption. And it seems like we've normalized and accepted that.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
See, it's become systemic, right? It's so organized that it happens whether you intervene or not, right?
Yeah. And now the scale. The scale is what
It's the
makes it
scale.
appalling.
That makes it really, appalling, no? Of course, from a purely political standpoint, right? This is, money is power, and this is a political elite empowering themselves, right? By taking from public funds, they're using that money as power. It's not just to buy, nice cars and whatever.
It's to perpetuate themselves into
Yeah.
power.
Yeah, it's a power base, and we don't like that. We that's not democracy.
Yeah.
That's a form of oligarchy.
Well, the business community describes the corruption under this administration as historic, massive, and unprecedented.
Yes.
Are we seeing a scale of corruption that was, you think, worse than during the era of Marcos Sr.?
Yeah, definitely. They're,
Wait lang mga kadonatics, grabe talagang history ng mga Marcoses, di ba? Ang senior mga kadonatics, akala nila na yun na talagang pinaka-worst. Ay grabe, dinoble pa ng anak. Tapos itong mga loyalist mga kadonatics, sinasabi pang, napakatino ng liderato nila ng Pangulo. What the heck? What the heck? If you can still think like that mga kadonatics at the moment, despite of the corruption, the expose, I think there's something wrong in you mentally. Kung yan pa rin yung pag-iisip mo na talagang matitino ang mga Marcoses, something is wrong with you.
be fair, when martial law was declared in 1972, let me use the active voice. When Marcos Sr. declared martial law in 1972, there was a lot of public perception and everything of corruption in traditional politics. And he said, we have to have a new society, right? And he was apparently able to clean up a lot of the petty corruption in those years, led by politicians. Of course, many analysts would say he actually just took it for himself.
Yeah, centralized the corruption.
He centralized it, so But okay, I mean, let's not debate about those things. Basta during the martial law era, you did not have this scale of corruption among the legislature, for instance, and in local governments. Typically, it was all sort of minimized. You had a very good cabinet, for one thing. During the Marcos years, he had excellent cabinets, and Prime Minister Virata, for instance, these guys were serious, and they were development-driven technocrats.
Would you say the level or the competence of this cabinet we have right now is not as effective as
No,
during Marcos Sr.'s?
I wanted to point out that that's a strength of the current dispensation. Like his father, he's really good at picking them. He's got good people, and during the cabinet reshuffle, we defended, particular his economic cluster. We, Makati Business Club, we said, look, these are the right guys for the job. Well, because they all came from the private sector naman talaga, with a few exceptions, no? But yeah, we said, you know, you've got good guys. Don't lose them.
Well, but that time, President Bongbong Marcos called for a massive reset, but we didn't really see an overhaul in the cabinet. Were you disappointed? I mean, you said that
No.
he should have retained the economic thing. So what was that massive reset all about then?
It was
Like,
really more of a political reset. You know, I don't want to go
Yeah.
into
That
detail.
time was, ang nangyayari nga mga kadonatics, after sa courtesy resignation niya, nako, sinong pinaresign? Sino ang pinalit? Wala nga mga kadonatics, parang wala nga nag-resign that time. I mean, may nagre-resign, yes. May nag-submit na mga resignation that time. Pero hindi naman tinanggap ni BBM. Wala pa rin. Ewan ko kung saan yung call na yon. Pabango or ay talaga
On that, because that's the job of an analyst, a political analyst, no. But yeah, obviously it was some kind of a political reset because, you know, I guess they felt chastened after his Senate slate went nowhere.
Yeah, during the midterm elections.
Yes.
So now with President Bongbong Marcos's history of, you know, giving grand statements as to, for example, a massive reset where it didn't really result in an overhaul of his cabinet. When he said, mahiya naman kayo sa sona niya, do you think this was really more for just a PR stunt or a serious call for accountability that we're going to see some results, like in this ICI investigation?
Well, that's what this statement is about. We're saying, look, you're going to call for accountability. We want a serious call for accountability. We want heads to roll, right? This is an historic opportunity for the president, you know, to change the Marcos legacy forever. You know, it's a make or break for his historical legacy. He has to see this through. Heads are really going to have to roll.
The business groups have also called this massive corruption as a threat to national security. What do you think that means?
Well, okay. One is, you know, the amassing of economic power by the political elite, right? That's a security problem. I mean, in the way that warlords were a security problem back in the Marcos Sr. Years. You know, traditional Philippine politics. You have family dynasties, many of whom are warlords, right? Who are dominating provincial politics. No. So in that sense, it's a security threat. In another sense, I mean,
Or when you're saying you're going to use it on flood control, it better go to flood control. But now we're experiencing massive flooding, even if there's no big typhoon. But when Ambassador Babes Romualdez also said that there are a lot of interest, supposedly from American businesses, that are now being threatened as not pushing through because of this corruption scandal, do you think that this whole issue really is also a threat to investor confidence?
yeah. And one of the things that we've been saying in the last few months is everybody's focused on foreign direct investment, as if there's like this huge, you know, pool of foreign direct investment that's clamoring to get into the Philippines. That's not the case, you know. We should be looking at domestic investment, right? I mean, domestic businesses, why are they not investing more in the economy, in risking their money for greater growth, right? And I think that's really the question we need to ask. Corruption is a big factor in this. you
How
know.
has corruption affected local businesses? Like it sounds like before you were saying everyone knew there was corruption in the system, but if not for the investigations in the Blue Ribbon Committee, we would not be aware of the scale of corruption that we're facing now. But in the past, were there already symptoms that this was affecting local businesses?
Well, let's talk about first how it affects the economy. Okay, government spending is a major driver for growth. All right, and when the government programs all of these infrastructure projects and stuff like that, ideally the money ultimately gets into the pockets of workers, right? And therefore boosts the economy.
Yeah, or even materials, like really buying
Yeah.
cement, steel, the
Yeah.
things that you need for construction.
Exactly, right? So, when you're spending this much on it's supposed to go to GDP, but it's not. It's going into the pockets of contractors, congressmen, whatever, governors, and they're using it to buy I don't know what, mostly imported
Yeah.
goods.
And a lot of
So-
luxury goods. I was thinking when I was seeing some of the exposés of netizens about Nepo wives, Nepo babies, sabi ko, buti pa ang mga foreign brands like Hermes, they're earning a lot of money from...
Yeah. Well, I mean, from our standpoint, it's not a question of the whatever bourgeois obsession with brands or something like this. That money is leaving the Philippine economy. We are throwing that value abroad. Kumikita dito is Louis Vuitton. I mean, diba? LVMH. Well, I mean, I'm
and even the
exaggerating,
luxury car
but-
brands, like it
Yeah.
seems, yeah. But what kind of response does the business community expect from the president, from President Bongbong Marcos and his cabinet, now that we've learned of the scale of corruption?
Well, we've outlined how we want him to respond. I think we made 5 points.
Yes.
If
And
you
I
don't
think for
mind, I'm
those who
going to-
haven't read your statement, because this just came out this morning, it would be helpful for you to share this with the public.
Yeah. Okay. First, we want the Independent Commission on Infrastructure, or ICI, to be empowered, right? Unfortunately, they're running right now on an
Call for transparency. Dapat i-publicize yung hearing na yan. That's what you gotta do,
executive
business
order.
groups.
And they don't have full authority. They can't even issue subpoenas. They can't hold someone in
Yes.
contempt.
No power.
So we need to empower them to do all of these things. They need to be very powerful, not what they are now. Secondly, we want public disclosure of all audit findings, all from 2016 to the present. No? Transparency is non-negotiable for restoring public confidence. And there's, one of the things that we've seen at, for instance, the Philippine Budget Watch Coalition.
Well, mga kadonatics, bisitahin yung Billionaire News for more, for the continuation, infos. And hanggang dito na lang mga kadonatics. And what do you think? Sa video natin ngayon, please comment down below. And please, before you leave, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. God bless you mga kadonatics at ingat ka palagi. Bye-bye.